Said his house ain't a home and he's losing sleep. Wife cold as steel, vibe off track. Asked me how the hell to get his edge back.
What's going on, guys? We got a sponsored video for a Thursday afternoon, which is awesome. Because I didn't do any vlogs last week. I didn't have a sponsored video last week, which is really apropos because I was working on the audiobook for Keep Your Bish. But because of that, I got two to do this week, so that's good. Hopefully, you can keep that going forward. So my man emailed in, he says, why does being single make me feel like something is wrong with me? Paul, I do not know if I'm the only one who feels this way, but I hope you can give me some direction. I'm 50 and divorced for 2 years now. My kids are grown. My house is quiet. And when I walk through that front door at night, it hits me in the gut every time. I never thought I would be this age and alone. What scares me is not dating again. It is the thought I cannot shake that I'm going to grow old by myself, that I'm going to be that guy who has no one, who dies alone in some house no one visits. I know it sounds dramatic, but I swear this idea is my head every day. And, you know, and it's actually, you're not alone. This is actually really common. Rollo Tomasi did a really phenomenal blog article about this back in 2011 called The Myth of the Lonely Old Man. So I referred to that quite a bit for the show notes today. But one of the things that Rollo pointed out in that article is that a lot of men have never actually been alone. They go from their mom when they're growing up to some kind of girlfriend, maybe a couple of girlfriends, and then they get married with 0 time spent learning independence. And I know that was my trajectory originally. You know, I mean, I was that guy that was running for that white picket fence. And, you know, I dated a couple of girls, but it was always sniper dating mentality in high school. And then I joined the Navy. And my second year in the Navy, I met my now ex-wife. And I got married when I met her when I was 19. I got married when I was 20. Okay. I wasn't even old enough to drink alcohol at the wedding reception. Right. Which is funny. I pointed out to my daughter the other day, because my daughter's 20 now. I'm like, I was your age when I got married to your mom. Right. And so that's a lot of guys' MO is they have a couple of, like, you know, girlfriends in their teens, and then they're trying to lock every girl down, and they're running for that white picket fence, and they never learn how to be alone. Right. And so we also have this lonely old man myth, right? How Rollo talks about it, how it's just the male version of the old maid myth, and how men are shamed into commitment through this type of fear. They're like, you don't want to die alone, do you? You don't want to die alone, do you? Right? And so then you start thinking that if you're alone, that there's something wrong with you, right? And so we'll get into it. But what most guys do is, to avoid being alone, is they rush into relationships that they should have never been in to begin with. Okay, we'll talk about that. He says, I think this is why I keep trying to jump into the next serious thing as fast as I can. I have gone on dates since the divorce, but the second a woman shows me any interest, I start picturing the whole future. I start telling myself I need to get serious before it's too late. Now, men, one of the things that Rollo points out is that men use the loneliness myth as a buffer from potential rejection by rushing into the first exclusive thing, right? And I see this all the time. Men with sniper dating mentality, and they go all in with the first girl that's nice to them. They delude themselves by saying crap like, I'm not getting any younger. I have a friend like this. I have a friend who is married now, and that was his thing. He was like, well, we're both not getting any younger, right? Like, so you decide to get Uncle Sam involved in your relationship, because he went through one of the most horrendous divorces I've ever seen. I mean, he did a lot of that stuff to himself, but it was still a really negative experience. I'm like, why would you do that to yourself again, man? Well, because I'm not getting any younger. Okay, that's societal programming. Anyway, they delude themselves by saying crap like, I'm not getting any younger. I'm tired of the games. right? I'm tired of the games. I just got to get out of the dating circuit. I'm tired of the games. You hear that a lot. I don't want to be alone in my 60s. You hear that kind of crap a lot. They have a negative mindset when it comes to dating, right? So they go out there, they hate it. Dating's a grind. This sucks. This girl's nice to me. I'm just going to go all in. All right? So they end up settling in relationships that they hate, and they stay miserable just so they don't stay alone, right? One of the things that we were talking about yesterday on the podcast, on the normal live stream, is how to break up with a girl, because one of the guys in Wolfpack was going through this. I mean, he wasn't 50. He was young. He was a young dude, but he didn't want to be alone. So he was afraid of breaking up with his girl, but he hated the girl. Like, dude, it's okay to be alone. Okay. It's okay. Anyway, it's much better to be alone than it is to be miserable in a relationship that you hate. It's much better to be alone. Okay. And the crazy part, he says, is I was miserable in my marriage. See? See? Right? I was miserable in my marriage, and the relationship before that. I have basically gone from one relationship to the next my whole life without ever stopping to actually be alone. Now that I'm forced to sit with myself, it feels like something is wrong. Okay. Now, serial monogamy, it's a symptom of our conditioning. We never learning to be alone for a while, to enjoy our own company, never unplugging from the feminine imperative. Okay. Now, what do I mean by that? The feminine imperative is you owe these women, a better life. You have to, get involved with these relationships. You have to protect and provide and start a family so you don't die alone, so that you have kids there when you die, right? Like all that kind of stuff. It's all that does is further to the narrative of get married and keep the system going. Keep the system going. Have you know what a really phenomenal documentary? It'll blow your mind. I believe it's called Divorce Inc. I think it's called. And it came out several years ago, and it was all about the marital industrial complex, and how much like lawyers make on divorces, how much states make, how much the government makes, all this kind of stuff, and how much judges make, all this kind of stuff, just from the marriage industrial complex. It keeps people in a state of money running through the system, and guys learning to be alone and be more selective in dating. It ruins that. It completely ruins that. So they don't like this information getting out there, guys. Now here's the thing too. A lot of people don't understand this when it comes to red pill, but there's nothing wrong with being in a monogamous relationship and being red pill aware. A lot of people will think that, oh, if I'm red pill aware, that means I can never be in a monogamous relationship. I can only spin plates for the rest of my life, or I have to have a harem of some kind. That's not true. Okay. If you enjoy being in a monogamous relationship, there's no reason not to do that. Okay. But it does behoove you to be selective with who you're going to be monogamous with, and not just settle with the first girl that's somewhat nice to you. Okay. It doesn't serve you to monkey branch from one relationship to the next the way that women do. Okay. That's what women do, because hypergamy, women's natural sexual strategy, hypergamy is monogamy. They can only really love one guy at a time. And if they're monkey branching to the next guy, that's not you. That's not you anymore. And they're trying to go with the next guy. Now, men are polygamous by nature, which means that we will step outside the relationship for variety. We can still love our wives or our girlfriends, but variety is nice. You know what I mean? The main reason why guys want to cheat is because it's not her vagina. That's all it is. But men don't do that, because we're not, like, our societal, conditioning has us dating the way women do, and sniper dating one person at a time. But the thing is that women don't date that way. When women are single, they're weighing their options, and they're trying to weed guys out, because they have so many options. So they're trying to weed out their options and find the best possible guy. And most guys aren't doing that. Most guys are just sniper dating and they're being monogamous with every girl that they talk to until she breaks their heart or something. And then they're like, oh crap, now I got to start over. And this dating process sucks, right? Well, there's a much more efficient way to date, but it does require some patience. Okay. It requires you to learn to be alone for a while and enjoy your solitude. And it requires you to learn to enjoy the process. Okay. That took me a while to get to, but once I got to that place, I loved it, man. I loved being out there spinning plates. I was not trying to get locked down by every girl. There were certain girls that I liked, and if they wanted to try to lock me down, I wouldn't have been opposed to it. But there were also girls that I was sleeping with that I was like, there's no way I would ever be exclusive with this chick. She's crazy, man. Anyway, so he goes on to say, my friends tell me I should enjoy being single. Well, have you tried it? I don't like telling guys what they should do, okay? Because should is manipulative language, okay? But I would invite you to learn to do it, learn to enjoy the process. There's a good mindset to have. We'll talk about that here in a little bit. But developing the mindset that it's a fun thing, it actually will get you through it, and it will find you much better women, okay? Now, the funny thing is that being single with our social programming, it's framed as being immature because men are expected to serve someone else's goals, right? You gotta marry a girl and bring her up and have kids with her and support her kids and do everything for her and the kids. That's what society teaches us to do, okay? And then they tell us that if we don't want to do that, we're Peter Pans, right? We're Peter Pans, and they say that you men need to stop being Peter Pans and settle down. For what? To make some other woman's life happy? Right? Like, what about my life? Me settling with this chick is not going to make me happy. In fact, it's going to make me miserable because she's a miserable woman to be with. I don't know. This is an arbitrary woman. I'm not talking about you, Susan. Relax. But men are told to man up, right? You got to man up. You're a certain age. You need to man up. I get that a lot because when I'm talking about dating, right? And I'm in my mid 40s, and you'll get these young bucks that'll be like, why is this old man talking about dating? He should be married with grandkids by now. Well, I should be. I mean, first of all, fuck you. I'm not that old. Fuck you, I'm not that old. My son is 16, right? My daughter's 20 and she's in college. I do not want her having kids right now. She needs to finish college first, right? My son, he has no business getting girls pregnant. He's still in fucking high school. So fuck off. All right. Besides, my man here is 50 and he's divorced and now he's back on the dating circuit. So there's dudes that are older than fucking 20. You imbeciles that are still out there dating. All right. So relax. Anyway, you young bucks aren't my target demographic anyway. So men are told to man up, right? But Red Pill will tell you that you don't owe women a better life and to do what's best for you, to become your own mental point of origin. And that's the hard part about our blue pill conditioning is we're not taught to be our own mental point of origin. We're taught that's selfish and we got to light ourselves on fire to keep everyone else warm. And so when we become our mental point of origin, we feel selfish, we feel bad for it, and we feel shamed for it because of societal programming. Okay. So you got to unlearn that. You got to reprogram that. And jumping into relationships that don't serve you just for the sake of not being alone, it's not in your best interest. Okay. So we're telling you in the red pill space to do what's best for you. And I'm telling you that jumping into a relationship just so you're not alone is not probably what's best for you. And you're probably going to end up miserable. Okay. My man says, I do not know if I'm chasing someone because I actually want a connection or because I'm terrified of the alternative. Right. Well, the triple hit, right? It's the triple hit. You've got cultural fear of solitude, belief that settling down equals maturity, and using the fear as a convenient retreat from rejection. And by rejection, I mean being out on the dating circuit longer than you have to, right? So it's this triple whammy. So yeah, I mean, like but here's the thing: dealing with rejection is one of the biggest reasons men hate the dating circuit. It's one of the biggest reasons. Almost everything is set up as a buffer for rejection, right? Like dating apps themselves are a buffer from rejection, right? Now, that's not to say that. See, I'm a big fan of dating apps. I'm not one of the guys out here that are like, oh, dating apps suck. Don't do dating apps. I'm out here saying that dating apps don't suck. Most men just suck at using dating apps. There's a method to the madness, right? And it's all, you got to learn the method, but we all hate rejection. That's why a lot of guys won't cold approach. They're afraid to approach women. They have approach anxiety. All of this stuff is a fear of rejection. Well, the same thing about rushing into relationships that you don't belong in. It's because you're tired of all the games and you're tired of all the rejection. So you're just like, oh fuck, this girl's nice. I'm just gonna settle with her, right? But it shows rejection shows up in several ways, and all of them men find frustrating, right? So women refusing to meet up, and they require unlimited fucking dating app texting and stuff like that, and you're like, no, let's meet up on Thursday. When are you free? We need to text longer first. I don't feel comfortable yet. Unmatch those bitches, okay? They are wasting your time. When you're out dating, there's 4 types of women that you're going to meet, right? You got rejectors, you've got reciprocators, you have wholesome pretenders, and you have manipulative time wasters. The women that just want to text for weeks at a time are wasting your fucking time. Unmatch those chicks and move on to the next chick, okay? You have chicks that are going to ghost you. That frustrates men. You have chicks that are flaky as fuck. In fact, most women are flaky. I would say almost every woman's a flake. Okay, almost every woman's a flake. That's annoying as hell, right? And then also there's straight up women that'll straight up reject you, right? They will tell you that I don't feel a connection, whatever. Okay. See, those women are the best. Those are rejectors. Rejectors don't waste your time. They tell you straight up, hey, I'm not feeling the connection. Great. Best of luck. And then men build up a fantasy in their mind with these women. Okay. In NLP, we call it future pacing. In the book Atomic Attraction, Christopher Campbell calls it chronesthesia, right? But in NLP, we call it future pacing. But we end up future pacing, and when rejection happens, we get totally deflated because we built up this fantasy in our mind, and that kills us, right? And so the way that you get around that is to have a detachment, right? Have a little bit of a detachment from outcome, right? Don't imagine yourself with these women. One of the things that I had to develop when I was getting really good at closing for dates, right? Guys, if you read my method on how to close for dates on dating apps, you're going to get a lot of yeses. You get a fuck ton of yeses. Okay. I'm a fucking closer, baby, and coffee's for closers. But the thing is, even when you have dates lined up, even when you are able to close for dates, you're still going to have flakes. You're still going to have girls cancel on you last minute, whatever. So what I had to develop was the mindset that it's all meaningless until I'm sitting across from her on a date. And that allowed me to let go of all attachment outcome. And then I would keep matching. and keep starting new conversations. Like, cool, I got a date lined up, allegedly. And then I would set up the next date. And I would try to line up my entire week with dates. And then out of like 7 days of dating, dates lined up, I would probably have 4 that canceled, right? But I would still have 3 that lined up. But that's because I was intentional and I kept the pipeline going, right? That's how you got to do it. Don't develop this. Don't future pace with these chicks. They don't deserve it yet. Okay. They have to earn that shit. Okay. Where are we getting? Oh, so you get deflated, right? So instead of, so guys do this, they future pace. And then when it doesn't work out, they get deflated. And so instead of shrugging it off and having an abundance mindset that there's always another woman, men get discouraged and look for the quickest way out of the dating circuit possible by jumping into relationships that suck. Okay. Because they can't be alone. They can't be alone. So he asks, is this normal? Is this what happens to men after divorce? Why does being single make me feel like I'm failing at life? Well, sadly, it is normal for a vast majority of men. It doesn't have to be what happens to men after divorce. You just need a new strategy. That's all. You just need a new dating strategy, brother. And what's got you to this place here didn't work out. You ended up divorced. Now you're alone and you've been dating for 2 years and it hasn't panned out. So you need a new strategy. Okay. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. That ends today. Modern men confuse independence with failure because they're never taught to build a life that stands on its own. And if you ever read the book, Dating Essentials for Men by Dr. Robert Glover, which is one of my holy trinity of dating books, this is what Dr. Glover talks about when he talks about baking a great cake of a life for yourself. Now, my Wolfpack brother, Nathan, he just released a book called Divorce is War. And in that book, he uses that same analogy, but he uses the making a sundae, an ice cream sundae for yourself, right? Because he fucking hates cake for some reason. Anyway, but you have to do that, okay? The life you've built up until now has probably been for your wife and your kids. It hasn't been for you. Whether you think it was or not, it wasn't. It was for them. Okay? You've been a plow horse your whole life. That's what we're conditioned to do, right? Sacrifice ourselves for family. Well, now you get to do what you want to do for you. What a wonderful place to be. What a great time to be alive. Don't you think? He says, I just don't want to spend the rest of my life alone, but I also do not want to settle into something empty because I'm scared. Well, men who can live alone and enjoy it are the ones women actually try to lock down. Okay? Because independence is attractive. Settling from fear is not attractive behavior. Being needy and pushing for relationships just so you don't have to be alone, that's unattractive behavior. One of the things that we talk about in Red Pill is be attractive, don't be unattractive. Okay? Be attractive is, making sure you're wearing clothes that fit, make sure that you're groomed right, and you're wearing cologne and you're looking good and you're going to the gym, right? But don't be unattractive is your behavior. Okay? If you're settling with the first woman that's nice to you, that's unattractive. Okay. If it's too easy for a girl to lock you down, she's going to question it. If you're pushing for a relationship, women get the ick. Okay. I talk about this quite a bit. It goes back to Breifeld's law. Breifeld's law is the female, not the male, determine whether a relationship's going to take place or not based on the value that she gets from the man. Okay. And a lot of guys think that means money. It's not necessarily about money. But the thing is that also means that it's her job to lock you down. It means it's her job that once she locks you down to keep you. Okay. So your job is to be a man worth keeping, right? But that also means that the relationship, pushing for a relationship is not your job. Your job is to be a fun, attractive guy that's working on his purpose, that's working on his mission, and she wants to join your lifestyle. Okay. And then she tries to lock you down because hypergamy wants to consolidate on one best possible option. Okay. That's using nature and women's hypergamous nature to your advantage. This is being strategic. Okay. If you want to be happy, you want to have a woman lock you down. All right. And don't be just going with the first girl that's nice to you. All right. Don't do that. So he says, what am I supposed to do with this feeling? All right. So being single, it's not a curse, brother. Okay. It's the test that builds a man. And at 50, a man still has more options than he realizes. I did this maybe 2 years ago. One of my former legacy clients, he's still a Wolfpack brother. I'm not gonna name names here. But he's still in the pack, but he and I used to do one-on-one work quite a while ago. And he wanted me to do a video for older guys. And if you look through my channel, it's like old guys still want to bang, right? I think that's the name of the episode. And it's all about how you have plenty of life left. Well, guess what? This guy is in his 60s. This guy's in his 60s. You're still younger than him, okay? And at your age, I mean, you could be dating girls in their 30s. It's pretty nice. It's pretty good place to be. Don't be thinking that you got to settle for these old bags that are in their 50s. Like, forget that. And don't let women shame you into that shit. Okay. Age gap relationships work. And younger, hotter, tighter is the cure to ED. Okay. So what a great time to be alive. You know what I mean? Anyway, you need a better strategy, brother. What I would recommend, if you haven't done it yet, is read Everything I Wish I Knew When I Was 18. Read Everything I Wish I Knew When I Was 18. Read the dating and spinning plates chapter on repeat. Okay. Now, if you don't like sitting down with books, it's on Audible. R.P. Thor did the narration for this because it was my first book and I didn't know what I was doing. But I do all the narrations for all my other books. But R.P. Thor did the narration for that. So read the dating and spinning plates chapter. It's the longest chapter in this book, and there's tons of sub chapters, and it breaks it down to a fucking science. Okay. But what you're going to be doing is you're going to be learning how to date more efficiently by spinning plates. By spinning plates, I mean date multiple women at once. Now, a lot of guys are like, I can't even get one date. What do you mean date multiple girls? Just follow the advice. I show you how to do it. Okay. Pussy attracts pussy. Okay. Pussy attracts pussy. Once you're able to get plates spinning, it gets easier. It gets easier. But until you get that one, you have to act as if. Because women can tell when you have options. And when a guy has options, it makes him more attractive due to a thing called pre-selection, right? When a woman can sense that you have options, it makes you more attractive in her eyes instantly because she thinks, well, if other girls like him, this is all subconscious too. They're not consciously thinking this. If other girls like him, then he must be a catch. And I'm trying to find my best possible option. Let me go for him. And women are very competitive that way. Okay. So I talk about all that in the book. It's the perfect fucking strategy. It's science. Okay. It's fucking science. But your only job then while you're doing this is to test for interest, test a woman's ability to follow your lead, facilitate fun, and fuck. That's it. Okay. That's it. And you want to treat all of it like a science experiment and have fun with it. That was the mindset that I learned from Dr. Robert Glover that I applied, and it works because when you treat things like a science experiment, think of the scientific method. Okay. Scientists aren't trying to make something happen necessarily. They form a hypothesis and they test the hypothesis. And once they can't disprove the hypothesis, they raise it to a theory, right? If they can disprove the hypothesis, they form a new hypothesis and start the process over again. They're collecting data. They're very detached from it. You need to treat dating the same way. Go into first dates, keep them low investment, drinks only in the evening. Okay. Do what lovers do. Don't be doing coffee dates. Coffee dates put out the friend vibe. Drink dates, and don't be buying all these bitches dinner. Okay. You don't be feeding all these lonely women out there. They can feed themselves now. Right. They're independent women. So meet up at 7 p.m. because they've probably already eaten then. Drinks only. Your only job is to see if you like her or not. Don't be trying to qualify yourself to these women because that's unattractive behavior. Make them qualify to you. Do you like them or not? Okay. Break it all down in the book. The goal, if your goal is to eventually get into an LTR, that's fine. That's fine. I'm in a monogamous relationship with a nurse chick. It's been effortless for going on 5 years now. It's fucking awesome. It's wonderful. She just went home today. It was great. She spent all week with me this last week. Love it. So if that's your goal, then also read the relationships chapter and start working on your contenders list. I talk about the contenders list a lot because most men won't do it, but it's the key to making sure you don't fucking settle in relationships that you shouldn't be settling in. Okay. Where is that at? Hold on. I should just mark it because I'm always showing it on the show here. Hold on. Here it is. The contenders list. Now, if you listen on Audible, you can't see the contenders list, okay? Because there's a lot of pictures in this book. You know, I have a lot of graphs and shit. But here's the example of the contenders list. You want to do this if you don't want to settle into a relationship that's not going to be right for you, okay? But the same process applies. You still have to spin plates and follow the game plan. And what you'll find is that the cream rises to the top, okay? Also know this. also know this. If you never quite find a good woman, don't just settle for a girl to avoid being alone in old age. Okay. Nurse chick, my girlfriend, is a hospice nurse. She deals with elderly dying all the time. All the time. Okay. Most people end up dying alone anyway. Most people end up dying alone anyway, despite being married or having kids. Okay. A lot of people, they might have kids, right? And their kids are checking in on them like once a day, but their kids have their lives and stuff like that. And they'll end up dying alone when their kids are off at work, right? Or they'll die in the middle of the night when everyone's asleep and, that's, and their kids went home or something like that, right? Or they outlived a spouse, and so they got married and they weren't supposed to be alone when they died, but their spouse died first, right? And so now they're still alone. So don't be rushing into relationships just so you don't end up dying alone someday, because you probably will anyway. All right. You're better off living in the present and dating more efficiently and not settling for the first girl that's nice to you. Okay. Find a girl that like intentionally date for a specific purpose and look for a specific type of woman. You'll find them. Okay. But you have to make a contenders list first and follow the game plan. Cool. All right, cool guys. That's all I got for this email. Let's see. We got people in the chat though. What do we got here? We've got Brother David in the house. Hey everyone. Let's see here. Ashley Tinney says, I know, so LMAO. Oh, I don't know what she's talking about. Donovan Sharp is fake as F. I like Donovan. What are you talking about? Hold on. Oh man, hold on. There's so many things here that Restream scrolled all the way to the bottom. Okay. Nurse Chick is in the house. She says, afternoon, gentlemen. Everybody, Nurse Chick gets this. Hold on a second.
I'm so naughty.
Hold on.
I'm gonna come.
Yep.
That pussy must be ridiculous.
It is. It is ridiculous. It's really hard for me to click these sound drops on Restream. I don't know if I like it, but Brother Dave says, my dad couldn't be alone after my mom died and wound up being Captain Save-A-Ho and married the worst woman possible. He died because he could. At least that's what I say. Phil says, hoorah. Nurse Chick says, red pill aware in a monogamous relationship for 5 years. That's right. That's right, babe. And then Dave says, Nurse Chick, you are the goat for your guy. Throat goat. Throat goat. Just kidding. Nurse Chick's like, that's true. But don't say it out loud, Paul. Oh my God. I'm just sick of the trad kind of idea that it's virtuous for the man to be an indentured servant for his wife. I am too. I was raised that way though. My parents are totally traditional conservative, but after being red pill aware, I realized like what terrible advice that is. Like, just get married, just fucking settle down. It's stupid. Ashley Tinney says, what do you think about red pill? I think it's very accurate. Oh, like I think Myron's full of shit. I hate to say it. He's got one of the biggest podcasts out there. He's friends with a lot of my friends. I think Myron's full of shit. Also, he's racist as fuck. He's racist as fuck. And I don't know if it's a bit or what. But if you follow him on X, like he says some shit I can't even say on this channel. I'm like, oh my God, dude. And he's a black dude, but he says some of the wildest shit. I don't get it, man. In my mind, Myron is a mixture of red pill and black pill. I think so too. Let's see here. Oh, these guys are having a conversation. Let's see here. Ashley says, no, women's job is to be a keeper and men are the people that need to lock. Oh, fuck off. You don't even know what you're talking about, Ashley. All right, guys, that's all I got. I'm not entertaining this nonsense anymore. That's all I got, guys. Hey, if you are a man and you want to join a group of like-minded men, the Wolf Pack is having our hangout tonight in just like a couple of hours. You guys can join here. Ashley, you're not invited. It's for men only. Come on, manpod.com. I'll drop a link in the chat here. There's a 7-day free trial. Join us tonight. It's cool. We usually hang out on the call for about 2 hours. You don't have to be there for the whole 2 hours. Come and go. It's kind of like a bar environment. And we talk about whatever the guys want to talk about. Sometimes it's heavy. Sometimes it's just shooting the shit, but it's always a good time. So I dropped that in the chat, guys. Hope to see you there. Otherwise, tune into the podcast tomorrow. we're going to be talking about men who do the work versus men who are just looking for sound bites and end up lurking in chats and they don't fucking do the work, right? They're just looking for quick hacks and shit like that. And they stay stuck for years, right? And so we're going to talk about the difference between the guys that actually do the work and the guys that are just looking for quick fixes, all right? Because there's a monumental difference. And if you really want to change your circumstances, you're going to have to do the fucking work. So tune into the podcast tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. Eastern time. We will see you there.